Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good morning, everybody. Well, I can see Kyle already saying PCE was a nothing burger, which I gotta tell you, it's only been a few times where PCE was a big surprise. Okay, it is an important number. There is more, what do we say, more attention on it and more volatility around it, but it's nothing like PPI and CPI, because the same information that goes into PPI and CPI goes into PCE. So they already know most of the numbers. That's why it's usually not a big surprise. But you always get these people, especially right now. I tell you, there's some people that desperately want to see inflation. Just desperately, they want to see the inflation. All right, guys, how have you been the past week? You doing okay without me? I've been thinking about it. I actually didn't do much programming this week because I've been reading a book. Plus, I kind of, I think that I got like to a good spot with it. And the next spot would be like data. So, I don't know. Well, I'm only streaming once a week. But what I was getting at is, next week also tends to be pretty slow. And then we'll have non-farms. But then after that, maybe we'll go back to streaming every day. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how I feel next week. I don't know. Like one of the things that I've been thinking a lot about the past few days is that I really need to ramp things up to do stocks. So, anyways, because they're getting rid of the pattern day trade rule. I really think that when the pattern day trading rule changes in a year, that it's really gonna hurt futures. like think about the CME, right? Is I actually okay? Let's go to the charts first. Let's go to the charts first. ZN, it's been up all week. Okay, so I think a lot of people came in and took shorts, like expecting this whole drama with Cook to push yields up, make the treasuries come down, but it's been the opposite. They're moving up. And to new highs, in fact, yesterday. So I think the September rate cut is becoming more and more likely. And I think that the movement up yesterday was Waller saying that he definitely wants a cut in September. So S&P 500 doing okay. I mean, there was a period, I tell you what, right here, this period right here, last week, it was like they were so apocalyptic. Oh no, this is the biggest downturn in such a time, and yet it's been fine. They've been higher. Nvidia was this week. It looks like we survived, right? Nvidia took a hit, man. But it was nothing compared to what it typically has been, because the options traders just came in and sold the F. We're at the highest short interest in VIX ever. So they are just selling volatility, which also kind of suggests they think they're going to cut rates. Okay, here is oil. Oil kind of trucking along. But, when it looked like we were kind of getting that cup, no, hasn't. This has kind of started going. There was a big down day, and now it's kind of going sideways. Gold. Well, gold has done well this week, at least. So, while I'm not seeing any evidence of like market concern over Cook or inflation in the treasuries, gold still looks popular. So silver's looking okay. Copper. Okay, well, copper didn't good at the end of this week. Ignore this craziness. All right. And then we got the Japanese yen. Okay, so now the yen is interesting because they've been seeing like their yields hit like record highs. So like some people are concerned about Japan, but in the yen itself, they've been okay. And the dollar, I don't know, kind of sideways still. So that's where we're at. Okay, so the pattern day trading rule, there is a proposal to basically change the rule to be like $1,000 or something like that. Like there will still be a pattern day trading rule, but only for accounts under $1,000. Yeah, it's a proposal, but it sounds like it is extremely likely to go through. And so we should expect that in a year's time, next fall, that we will be able to day trade with any size account in stocks. So I think that that change probably hurts futures trading. I don't, like futures trading was already a niche thing. A very large portion of the people that are interested in trading futures are interested in doing so because they don't have enough money to get around the pattern day trading rule. You eliminate that, I think there's going to be less people trading futures. Meanwhile, how many retail traders actually do trade futures? Like, I would say that of the day trading community, probably the majority of them think they are trading futures, but in reality, they are trading against a simulator on a prop firm, right? So here's the CME. They're making all of these instruments like micro treasury yield futures and E mini futures, and maybe they'll get to E micro futures for retail traders so that they can make more money from there being more activity and liquidity on the exchange. And everybody trades the prop firms. Could this possibly be in the longer run the way that we kind of kill the prop firms? Is that the exchanges themselves start fighting against it? I don't know. Probably what's going to happen is you're going to get prop firms on stocks. I mean, I think it already exists, but it'll get more common, right? But for us, listen, I try to minimize my risk, to be honest with you. Like, I love day trading, and I'm not saying that you can't be successful with day trading, but I am saying that you should limit the amount of risk that you take in day trading, because the reality of it is you're probably going to lose money. Okay. And, when you have the size of an account that they want you to have over in stocks is just too much for me. But if we could come in and use a wad of like $5,000 or something like that on stocks, I think that could be fun. And I think that a lot of the things that we know could be really valuable in stocks. In some respects, the most liquid instrument is the best thing for us, because that's where we're going to get the most regular flows and the most data and information. But also means it's going to be more competitive and it's going to be harder to find like an edge. So, I think we've done really good in Treasury futures, and I think there's a lot of good reasons to trade Treasury futures. But I also think when we move over to stocks, we might find easier opportunities. I think there might be some places where if we have order flow data, we're going to be looking at it, and we're going to be able to see things that the typical retail traders can't, because they don't look at that data. They don't understand it. So I really want to go in that direction. And I really want to go in the direction of my platform being built from day one to be equally useful on futures and stocks. There are a few platforms that are good for doing order flow on stocks, but they weren't really designed for it, and there's still a couple of little quirks here and there. So I think that would be one thing that the platform could do practically that would attract people to it, in addition to, having being built for the data and the machine learning and stuff like that. So kind of need to get the data. But I'm going to bide my time and try and save up. One of the things is that, streaming does make a certain amount. So that's one of the ways that we can kind of build things up. But anyways, and I don't know, I've made some videos about hardware things because people wanted me, those are great opportunities, and usually those videos do pretty well, but the last two have kind of been okay. Will brokers charge like $3,000 of margin for selling a stock the size of VS though? Well, I think that you'll probably have something similar to what you have now, where there's no commissions, but they're selling your order flow, and others there's a small commission. I don't know. Still, the whole thing makes me think, what will the CME do? Will the CME change some things to try and be more attractive to retail traders if everybody leaves for stocks because the pattern day trade rule went away? Kind of weird to think about. Kind of weird. It's going to be a big change for us. I don't know, guys. There's I have really mixed feelings about this era we've been in where I don't stream every day. Because I definitely do miss it. I think that streaming relieves a lot of stress. Oh, you need more margin? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, the margins will be enough for you to grow the account, but yeah, obviously you're not gonna turn $1,000 into $100,000 like you can in futures. but then again, you're probably over leveraged in futures if you're doing that, right? Anyways, but it's, part of this was, okay, well, we can't get that much done in 90 minutes streaming. So let's try programming with it. Hard to get a lot done programming wise in 90 minutes too. It's always just a different set of frustrations. And now I've changed on a lot of things. I'm learning a lot of things. I feel like we can do a little bit better here on the stream. So that's good. Doing more stocks, that can probably make things more popular. So that's good. But I don't know. At the same time, I'm One of the things that's going on right now in the industry, I saw we want a Lamborghini from you. Yeah, that's what we gotta do. So I was watching Delta Trend yesterday, And he had this thing. I don't know what his source was or where he was getting it from, but he had this chart that basically showed like the amount of money that was being spent on quote unquote day trading education was basically all-time highs this year. Like it kind of declined last year, and then this year it just like skyrocketed, which I think is really more a function of now you've got these guys on YouTube that are actively pushing it. Like they have this army of people that take clips of their streams and go and push them out, and they get paid to do this stuff. And they have all of the information about how to make this the most engaging and pull people into buying their trading education program. And I can definitely see in my own stats where in that environment, the channel is not as competitive as it was. So it's kind of like, should it do something about it? Well, and I think I've kind of come to now. I'm going to teach people, listen, it's hard to make money from day trading. I can't guarantee anybody's success in day trading. But what I can guarantee, if you learn from me, is that you actually will know what's going on. Huh? And I'm going to continue to do what I think is best for people and what is going to help them develop and accomplish their goal of being successful as day trading as best as I can. You know? And if everybody wants to go and watch basically straight up scams, then oh well, you know? Oh well. But I feel like I should be doing something about it, you know? I feel like I should be doing something. Okay, so before I go too much further, I do need to roll over my instruments, right? So let's fix that. It's time to be ZBZ. Oh, I think I need to update. The definitions. Give me CDOT updates. Wow. On YouTube, if you block ads for a company you don't like, you will just receive the same one again with a new company saying .ai. Oh, jeez. That's crazy, man. I haven't seen that. But you know what? Okay, so one thing that I discovered on TikTok. Hey, Kevin, welcome back. I think that I have not done as well recently on TikTok because TikTok changed their platform to try and reward creators for the way that they interact. So it determines what community you are in based on how you interact with others. So because when I'm on TikTok and I see other people trying to show me charts and drawing shit on them and all that, and I know that it's all nonsense, I immediately swipe away. And because of that, the TikTok algorithm punishes my channel. So that's why it really, every once in a while, something will happen and I'll be like, you know, we should say something about this. And it's kind of more like, oh, I'll put it on TikTok and then put it over here on YouTube and make sure that people know what's going on and what I think about it. But like, I just don't, I'm not putting as much effort into it anymore, you know? TikTok loves him if he does lives. Oh, well, we could do lives. I guess we could do lives. Yeah, that would maybe help there, huh? Okay, let's see here. I don't know. I tell you, TikTok is just not quite the platform that it was. But that's the way it always goes. Okay, and this should be CLV, right? October? Yes. And these ones should be V as well. Wait, that didn't change anything? Okay, I'm not quite sure what's going on there. No, I was on Q. And oh, no, it's not October, it's September. Oh, of course. Yeah. So it should be U. We went from Q to U. Yeah? Because next week is September, not October. September. Okay, but I'm not getting... I don't think I'm getting anything there either. There was stuff on Q. Or was it N? No. How come I don't see a Q? I was on Q. It should be U. No, why did I put it on N then? Oh, yeah, I was trying N just to see. No, wait, that doesn't make any sense either. Okay, July, August is gone, and there's September. What? Jigsaw, what? That's funny. Wait, let's just go over here. CME, CBT, CME, or CBOE, CBOT, and CME, and update those. And I know a TikTok star now. The only way. Oh yeah, I already read that one. All right, let's try. Oh, okay, but now I do see something on you. But it looks like, well, that's funny that it doesn't. All right, but let's see here. What I got this one on you, I got this one on you, and I got this one on you. It should be you. August. You is September. Yeah. So, given that it's the last day, I would think that there would be more, but maybe not. Let's see here. No constant live stream makes it fun to talk about news and such too. We have last time, for instance, yeah. Well, yeah, I do lately try to avoid talking about those sorts of things. I think as time goes on, those things are becoming less relevant. But I think that this one mattered because the first time that we've had an incident like that, but there was a much stronger reaction on the internet this time, wasn't there? There was a much stronger reaction about it. So I don't know what that's about, but I was kind of curious. I'm less, I should be super interested in some of the things that are going on, for instance, in the UK. The political stuff in the UK. But for some reason, I just don't care. Well, like when I'm seeing content about that and everything, I'm like, okay, it's happening, it's going on, I don't know. I think that as time goes on, I become more and more reconciled to, we have politics and everybody wants to come in and make a difference and everything. And I'm not saying that that's pointless, but I've kind of come to the conclusion that the world is so complex, you're going to spend a ton of time on this one thing, and then something else like artificial intelligence is going to come along and just make all of that irrelevant, So I'm much more at peace. Like, yeah, there's some of these things that you can kind of see the way that it's going to go. I think that there's going to be less immigration in the future. I think we've seen the way that particular system plays out and that the pendulum is swinging the other way. I don't know what that means for the markets. If it means anything for the markets, well, I mean, it definitely does mean something for the market, right? For one thing, you probably see slightly less GDP growth. Or the GDP growth will have to come from something else, right? Well, once we move to December in the big treasuries, the liquidity is looking pretty good. I mean, that's what it was through the summer. Once we get past the non-farms, you think that it will be even higher? Might be interesting. It's been such a long time since we've really had treasuries at their full strength of liquidity. There was something else very, very, very important that happened this week that we need to talk about. You know what it is? I'll let you guys guess. MB asks, what is your approach to the market? So if you go to the channel, I have a lot of videos where I kind of go into this a little bit in every video. But the main thing that we're doing here is we're looking at all of the information that we have from news and seasonality, and there's a variety of different sources to kind of make a judgment about which way the flows are likely to be that way, whether there's an imbalance in favor of buyers or sellers. And then we're coming in and we're using what we see on the DOM to both help us confirm or deny those theories about what the flows are going to be like today, and to find optimal locations to trade. Good question. Do you mostly trade one instrument or all of the ones that you're showing? So I am primarily trading ZN, the 10-year Treasury futures, and 10YY, the micro Treasury yield futures. And everything else is to help support my understanding of what's going on over here. Like, I need ZF and ZB to see what is going on with the yield curve, for instance. I guess I don't really need the 2YY and 30YY. I guess I still have this vain hope that those will get more liquidity. Oil is kind of up there because you guys wanted it. But then we do need the ES because there's a lot of good correlation between ES and the Treasuries. So, or anti-correlation. Plus, ES just has interesting flows. I don't think that they're necessarily very tradable flows, but they're interesting flows to watch. Emmy asks, do you trade cash or prop cash? I hate prop firms. I hate prop firms. It feels good to just admit straight up, I hate prop firms. I've been increasing my DOM time. I'd like to say I'm making brain progress. Yeah. Well, you know, okay, so one of the things that I'm getting into right now is focus. I am starting to get really good at being able to just sit down and work and just churn things out, man. At work. I wish that I had 8 hours a day to work on my platform or to work on trading, because at work, I am just churning things out. It's kind of funny because on one hand, it's kind of like, well, I'm going to finish all of the work that they have for me, and then they're not going to need me. But then the more stuff that I do, the more dependent they come on me. And I really feel like I need to apply that to futures a bit more. Well, I'm here in the summer. I'm still trying to be a little bit relaxed and trying to keep this fun. And that's the other thing. That's the other thing is I really think that I can do better inspiring and keeping the mood positive and keeping you guys motivated, because I think that's a really hard part about trading. I myself feel very demotivated about it sometimes, right? And I can provide a big help for you there. And I usually don't. I usually am so much in my head and down about, what the potential risks are and all of that sort of stuff, and providing so much information that I don't think about how it might affect people's mood, So I need to do better with that. I can only code for 3. Yeah, so I would agree with that. But I can do 4 hours lunch in 4 hours. So, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying Rust. I'm really enjoying using large language models. I don't vibe code it. I think, to me, vibe coding is like, let's write code and have no clue what that code actually does. I make sure that I understand every line. I've reviewed it all and that it's pristine before I'm going to commit it in. But I love the LLMs, just being able to talk to the LLM and go back and forth and argue with it about certain architecture decisions or code decisions and things like that. I think it's it's like having the collaboration. So collaboration is big, right? Collaborating with other people is going to improve the quality of your product. That's where a lot of innovation comes from, right? But part of it is they know things that you don't, and you know things that they don't, and the combination, that's where, wires get crossed and sparks happen and amazing things happen. But I also think that part of it is just the process of just you having somebody to go back and forth with. And that's a role that LLMs end up playing. I also find that the LLMs keep me engaged. Like, it's a lot easier to chat back and forth with a bot than it is to stare at a screen in Visual Studio Code. I also find it's a lot easier to stay in flow mode if you're using the keyboard completely, right? So yeah, I think that we want to focus more on getting into that flow state here, trading the treasuries, but not today. Not today, because it's still summer and the flows are kind of meh. I think we'll still do a bit of, okay, if the flows are there, then we're going to be locked in, and if they're not, let's have some fun. Distract ourselves, right? But come September, that's a very active time of year. I think that there's going to be a lot of stuff. We are going to be geared in a lot more. Or wired in. Let's call it wired in. Okay, why do I hate prop firms? Because prop firms are essentially designed to make you lose. But basically anything that you can do to actually get yourself an advantage as a retail trader, they disallow. So one of the ways that you can have an advantage as a retail trader is a longer holding time. Well, you can't hold overnight with a prop firm. One of the ways that you can kind of build an advantage is trading a bunch of different instruments. But the way that they structure things in the prop firms basically mean that you will do best trading ES and CL, and that's about it. Because you don't actually get to utilize the actual margins on the exchange or anything. They just say you can trade 4 contracts. Which doesn't make sense. One of the ways that you can have an advantage is to trade during news events. If you can react faster, understand what's going on faster than the rest of the market, a lot of prop firms disallow that. Basically, look at every rule that the props firms have. That rule is essentially designed to eliminate a certain type of profitable strategy from being used to pass the combines. It really straight up is they make money from you losing. And I don't know who would call me this time. I'm getting a lot more spam call messages these days. That one was from Michigan. Anyways, and the thing that I really hate the most about it is that everybody holds the prop firms up as the way. That if you want to be a successful trader, like, it's a great idea to start out with the prop firms, and then if you can be successful on the prop firms, you can be successful elsewhere. And it couldn't be further from the truth. Couldn't be further from the truth. If you pass the prop firm, it was probably that you were lucky. There's a 1 in 3 chance that you'll pass the prop firm evaluation, okay? 1 in 3 chance. And what it's doing is it's boxing you in to strategies that aren't very good. You have to do a certain type of strategy to be successful with that. And so you're wasting all of your time on strategies that are never going to work for you long term and never going into the types of strategies that we know actually work, like momentum portfolios. You need to put your phone number in the do not call registry again? Maybe. So people that call me are like outright scams and auto callers. You know, I think there's more. Because, yes, that would be a good reason to recommend against doing prop firms. That doesn't explain why I hate them. Why do I hate them? I hate them because they have turned our industry into a complete shit show. Like, there's not any... People don't appreciate good content anymore. There used to be a lot better educational content, stuff actually teaching you something. And when the prop firms took over, it turned into everything. Tell people everything that you can to convince them to start a prop firm account and make commissions from prop firms. That's why I really don't. There's a lot of traders out there and they're like, oh, I've been a successful trader and you should value my opinion. If you've got a prop firm link in your video description, I don't give a shit what you say. Because you're making your money from that prop firm and not from trading. Listen, there's respectable ways to make money. I think it's totally respectable to make trading content, make money from the trading content, and not necessarily make a ton of money from trading. Because the reality of it is, it's really hard to make money as a retail trader, from trading futures at least. And if you do make a ton of money from it, there was probably a really large degree of luck. So it's unfair to people to judge the quality of the informational content that they're giving you based on whether they made $1 million or not. Okay, that's actually kind of like a really, really poor filter to use. If you use that as your filter, you're basically always going to be led to the people that just got lucky or are lying to you. Okay, so I want to judge the content based on, do they have empirical evidence to back it up? Because that's the real way to be able to know if, a piece of information is going to help you when you're trading. It's, can they back it up with empirical evidence, right? So it's totally okay to make money from providing information to people. But I don't have a lot of respect for people that their primary way of making money is tricking people into this system where they make money from the other people losing. From them failing combines. I'm not okay with that. How long have you been trading? Well, so we've been doing this for... How long have we been doing this for? Since 2017. So that's like 8 years, I think, right? I tried a platform and eventually I found myself playing a game that doesn't look like trading at all. Short-term scalper. And, well, I mean, scalping is, I think, what a lot of people want to do. That's kind of what attracted me at first, was just the like concept of scalping sounded fun and cool. But no, I definitely don't trade full time. Even if I was making enough from trading to be able to trade full time, I don't think I would ever do that. To be honest with you. I think that it would be very difficult to stay grounded in that kind of situation. Full-time trading, if I was trading for like a Wall Street firm, maybe. JP Morgan came and was like, Seth, we want you to trade on our bond desk. I'd be there immediately, but they only recruit right out of school, right? And in terms of success, I would say that it changes. So over the past year, I really haven't traded very much because I've been between day jobs, and so I don't really want to take risk in that situation. The sim trading that I did during that time was really, really impressive, but I don't know if we can really take too much from that. Before that, I was doing really, really well, except for that first January from, what was it? Was it 2024? Was it January 20? No, it was January. I think it was January 23. Well, I don't remember anymore. But, you know, I was doing pretty good before that. But I would say that generally the way that we perform is kind of so treading water most of the time. And then every once in a while we find a market that we really, really understand and you can make big money from. So I definitely don't want to present myself as a, well, I've been super successful trader for a long time, so that's why you should listen to me. I do think it's a badge of honor that we've been around for so long, because not only have I been doing this now for 8 years, but most of the people that you see in the chatting with us with blue names have been here for most of that time period too. So, you know, the people that come here on this stream, they've been in it for a long time too. And I wouldn't even say that they're making millions of dollars from it, but we're able to stay in the game. And that is a lot more than what most people, right? Most people don't make it past a year, right? I think it's something like only 10% of people trade longer than a year. So to have so many people that here in the stream last that long is something special. Joke's on you, I only lose money. Well, that's okay. I tell you what, I am... To me, it's totally okay if you're trading and you're losing money, as long as that's money that you can afford to lose and you're able to keep trading. You're able to keep doing what you want to do. I'm a little frustrated right now because I feel like that my new job impedes on the trading too much. But at the same time, I kind of also realized that the jobs that I had before were really, really accommodative in that respect, and that I don't know if I can expect that anymore. That's why I stated that at the healthcare exchange for so long was it worked with the trading really, really well. Kind of sucks, but that's the market we're in. I'm wondering, you know, so one of the things that I've been seeing a lot of, because the job market is just absolute dumpster fire right now. But a a lot of companies are moving back to, you know, back to office, getting rid of remote work. And it seems to me that one of the biggest drivers of that is overemployment. People remote. Because I see it from some of the people that I work with. We have a couple of contractors that are remote workers. And it's like, we'll have our morning stand-up meetings, and I'm ready to go and take care of all of the things. And then they disappear for 4 hours. You know? And my boss told me that at his last job, that he had to fire 5 people for overemployment. So, yeah, the dream where I can just stay at home and work from home, I don't know if that's coming back. And it sucks. That's okay. I think I excel at the in-person thing, and I've been doing really well there. I don't know if they're gonna. We're still negotiating. I don't know if they're gonna pay me what I'm worth, but hey. So anyways, earlier I said that something super, super important happened this week. And you're supposed to try and guess what it is. But none of you tried to guess. And I'm telling you, super, super important thing happened this week. Like, you're probably thinking, oh, was it Donald Trump did something? Mm-mm. Is it artificial intelligence? No, folks. We're much bigger. Much bigger. We're talking about the sorts of things that craft demographic destiny and will reverberate in the textbook for centuries to come type of event that happened this week. My birthday? No, that would be pretty important, but my birthday is in May. Crypto? No. I'll tell you what it is. Taylor Swift is getting married. Come on, guys. Taylor Swift that is super, super important. It must have missed it. I can understand, because the day that it happened, I did not see that much stuff on like Reddit. Low plays? Let me tell you, folks, why Taylor Swift getting married is possibly the most important thing that has happened this decade. Because the millennials, you know what's happening? The millennials, they're not getting married. They're not having kids. You know why? Because Taylor Swift didn't get married and didn't have kids. But now that Taylor Swift is married, come on. You know, every guy out there that has a girlfriend that's a really big Taylor Swift fan is sweating it right now, right? She's sitting there talking to him like, hey, you know, they got together around the same time that we got together. Isn't that a beautiful ring? You know what? I think I want a ring like that someday. That's what's happening across the country today. Yes, folks. This is what's going to happen. Is Taylor Swift's going to get married, and then there's going to be this mass swath of women, millennials and Gen Z, that were putting off marriage that decide, actually, you know what? I do want to live at home. And then something else, then the next thing that's going to happen is Taylor Swift is going to have a baby. She's going to have a baby. It's going to be a very, very cute baby. There's going to be a lot of video or whatever about the baby. Like we're going to know who this baby is, right? And she's going to start changing her songs. So before, all of the songs were about all of her past failed relationships, and soon all of her songs will be about how great it is to have a baby. Because I'm telling you, man, when you have a baby, it changes you. Oh, it changes you. It's going to happen. You're overestimating their span of attention? No, there is going to be a Taylor Swift baby boom. There's going to be a Taylor Swift baby boom, and it's going to completely change the demographics. And you're going to come back 10, 20 years from now, and they're going to, and you know, just like we say, well, you know, we had World War II, and then there was the baby boom, and that's why we have the demographics that we have now today. I mean, because that's a huge part of why America is the way that it is, right? There's going to be a Taylor Swift baby boom. It's not going to be as big as the post-war boom, but it could be pretty big because there is a lot of people that were not having kids. I could be overestimating it, but I think that I no longer want to be invested in cats and wine, and I want to be invested in diapers and strollers and babies. I was hoping that it would happen post-COVID, but it just didn't. But now I think this might be the one. Taylor Swift, the Taylor Swift baby boom, it's coming. Very important thing. Maybe we should make a full video about this. Taylor Swift isn't the god to the people that she used to be. Maybe you're right. She still has. I tell you what, man. Like the amount of money that she made on her tour and like the economic impact that her tour was having, that it was like straight up affecting US GDP. Real thing. I think you might see in the future, because the music industry is kind of screwed right now. Not a lot of artists are making money because you just don't make money from selling the music anymore. And there is a template for the business that does work, but I don't think that very many people realize it. They think that it's just kind of a one-off thing or unrealistic. But Taylor Swift does it. You're seeing K-pop is doing it really well. There are a few electronic dance music outfits, especially labels like Anjuna Beats or I think Dirty Bird is kind of like this too, where they've kind of figured it out that the money isn't in selling the music, the money is in selling the community. That when you love that music, you become a part of a community. You're all getting together, going to the concerts, and you're buying the special merchandise. And then it becomes a premium experience. Then you're spending tons of money to have memorabilia and things like that, because that's who you are. That's your tribe. And I think in the future, you will see more and more of that, which probably means there's less room for people to really actually make money from music. But Taylor Swift is the template. And even though people might not view her as highly in like a political moral sense, she's still super popular. So I don't know. If anybody can create a baby boom, it's Taylor Swift. Maybe if I went into modeling, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm not interested. So I'm just taking measure of everything that we got going on here. The Japanese yen is seeing a little bit of buy-in that I'm not really seeing in the treasuries. That's kind of curious to me. I'm trying to why that might be doing that. I don't know. Maybe we should pay attention to. I don't know. The 10-year treasury does not. I'm not really seeing any interesting flow. I mean, I don't know. There's a iceberg at 14.5. That just doesn't look that interesting to me. I kind of want to say more about Taylor Swift, but the reality is that I've never really listened to her music and don't know that much about her. I didn't believe she started singing in the late yeah. Like the thing that's been wild to me is that she's been doing it for so long and that her fans feel such a strong connection to her music, because I always viewed her as super generic, you know, but I'm just not the target audience, I guess. Oh, wait, Nano Banana. Have you seen Nano Banana? It's like the new visual AI model from Google, I think. And I've seen some pretty impressive pictures with it, but I didn't know that it did video too. So here's somebody, they're just taking a picture of themselves talking and turning it into an animation and turning themselves into a girl. It's insane. A thought that's been coming to me a lot lately is, you know, when the AIs take over and we're all living in a tent city, I think that I'm still going to be in there with my laptop trying to bum power off my neighbors and build my application in Rust. Instead of buying food, waste all of the money that I find on LLM tokens. And I do enjoy working with the LLMs. Don't trust them. They're full of crap. But it is still fun to work with them. Open source dilemma in the EU. Many see benefits, too few contribute. Yeah. It's almost like, you know, goodwill and people being nice to each other is not enough to really sustain a system, that you actually do need microstructure that causes the effects that you want. If it turned into you needed to have strong open source contributions in order to get a job at any of the big tech companies, then it would change. And then everybody would be complaining about how hard it is to get into these open source projects and yada, yada, yada. Well, the Treasury has fallen back down to its lows here. I usually don't get too excited for any kind of a break on a Friday, but hey, it's there. Bitcoin is taking a beating all of a sudden. And gold is soaring. That is interesting. True, open source died the moment they realized you also need money to survive. So you know what's something that I think is really interesting is Burning Man. I think Burning Man is really, really interesting. And they've got this whole culture that's supposed to be, hey, we can just all survive on each other's goodwill. But the reality of it is that these people are all making big bucks from capitalism in Silicon Valley and then are coming in just living for a week, you know? And I think that most people that go to Burning Man do kind of understand that it's kind of more of a concept and not actually a practical basis for a society. pretty much every Burning Man, there's a group of people that's like the first time that they've ever done it, and they're just hooked. And then they go, oh yeah, this is a great idea. This is a wonderful way to base a society. We should just have forever Burning Man. And so then they go and they quit their jobs and move into some commune, and they're going to live the Burning Man lifestyle. And it always goes terribly. It's always a complete disaster, because the person that does that is somebody that is not going to work hard and doesn't do very much. And, you know, people will starve if they don't, you know, it doesn't work. They don't die, but of course, I've heard some like horror stories about it though, right? It seems to me that in order to have a successful system, that there has to be microstructure that leads the society in the way that you need it to go. And I even see this as a problem with the current system that we have. I shouldn't say with capitalism, but I would say that it's a problem with American capitalism. American capitalism is very good at giving people a motivation to participate in the system, and is very good at transferring information about supply and demand, so that and providing a motivation for providing more supply or pulling back on demand, or whatever the situation may dictate. That's the real innovation there that has allowed our society to become so successful. But the split side of that is that it kind of turns into you're incentivized to do whatever the best thing is for you, and people end up making tons of really dumb, not very efficient choices because of that. Lots of people might end up doing things that seem really callous, even though it's really just the system, you know, and they might not even consciously realize how dumb they're being, you know? So, well, if we're kind of relied for such a long time on people just being nice to each other and making the right decisions. And I'm just not sure that would ever work unless Christ himself was on the earth, you know? So if there's something that people aren't doing that we want them to do, or something that we're doing that we don't want them to do, we have to create a system that actively pushes them towards that. Is the long and short of it. I don't believe that the human spirit is enough. R/day trading, US GDP revised up solid growth or just a technical bounce? Oh, okay, so on Thursday, we should talk about this. On Thursday, we had the US GDP, and it got revised up 0.4, which was a big plus. So a lot of people are saying, oh, maybe the economy is not so bad. Problem with that is that is Q2 that they're talking about, when everybody was front-running tariffs. So what it says to me is people front-run tariffs and companies did even better than we realize. Does not mean that companies are doing amazing right now. Kind of looking at something that is somewhat lagging. So don't be fooled by that one. Doesn't necessarily mean, by the way, that we're going into a recession. but I think there's a big risk of it. How many of us use AI agents for trading? Can AI agents really? No, I don't think so. Yep, LLMs are the worst with numbers. Did you see this thing where Microsoft created an LLM for Excel? But like, if you try and use it, you find very quickly that it just makes shit up. Like, I've had very bad experiences with having LLMs parse data. You can write clever VBS macros. I don't know. I can't remember the last time I tried to use ChatGPT for Excel. I often find it bizarre the things that an LLM is good at and it's not good at. I ran into so yesterday I was trying to pick up a new project and I wanted to just make Terraform for some infrastructure that was already there. So I was just going to use Terraformer, but I can't get it to work. Can't get it to work. And it's annoying AF. But the AIs were completely useless and we're just going around in circles. Very frustrating. But I don't know. My boss has been doing a lot of vibe coding stuff and testing all the different ones and stuff. Maybe that's a use case he can try out and see if he can get them to work. I thought maybe Bitcoin was going to bounce, but Bitcoin is still dropping and gold is still soaring. And the S&P 500, I wouldn't say that it's a disaster, but it doesn't look very good. Does that mean that the balance of flows for today is just sell? Because it's the end of the month? They made so much on equities that they need to sell them. If everything could be solved by Python and JavaScript, then all LLMs would shine. Yeah, they're pretty darn good at Python, and they're okay at JavaScript. Yeah. So next week is the Rust conference, and apparently there is a company that has specifically trained an LLM for writing Rust And I'm very curious to see what they've got, because kind of seems to me like they could do a good job. Like I think there are some things about Rust, because the compiler is so strict and it moves all of your problems left, so you have to deal with them at the beginning instead of at the end. I think that solves a lot of the problems that you have with large language models. So it should be easier to train them, because the compiler is immediately going to show you all of the things that don't work. And then they're going to avoid big bad patterns, because again, the compiler will stop them. So now that somebody's put that effort in, we'll see how it goes. Because if people can start vibe coding things, you know, okay, like you can make pretty powerful apps with Python, right? If you can vibe code as well in Rust, then I think that a lot of people would start to use Rust to vibe code instead. Because then all of a sudden you get all of the power and performance, right? Linus Torvalds will be glad to hear that. I don't know about that. I think that Linus likes C, and he seems like he doesn't really care. Like they're having this argument over whether Rust should be in the kernel, and I think he's kind of allowing it, but I think that it's just that he's open to letting it happen, and not that he actually cares, or that he wants it to happen. But very interesting what's going on in the market. It looks to me like the dollar is just getting creamed. Oh, why is this? Oh, yes, because it's time for me to go. That's why. Well, guys, it was fun. So next week, we're going to have non-farms, right? So I will be here for non-farms. And then at that point, we'll see if we go back to daily streams or not. In the meantime, stay excellent.